This is wild.
Want to introduce Kyle Filipkowski?
You know, I'm just excited to be surrounded by these people.
That is Kyle Filipkowski, Utah Jazz rookie, former Duke Blue Devil, where he was a standout player in college, earning all ACC honors, even being named an honorable mention as an All-American. His story, though, gained traction during the NBA draft.
NBA teams are talking about the fact that they had question marks about his girlfriend being so much older than him. Why was he estranged from his family because of this whole situation? He apparently doesn't talk to his parents or his brother, and it's a very, very odd situation.
Teams raised red flags because of his personal life, specifically his girlfriend, Caitlin Hutchinson, who privated her Instagram after allegations surfaced of grooming. Kyle's mom, Becky, would see the ESPN report and write, "You're opening a 2-year issue." She is 28 with an endgame 3 years ago to have a diamond ring on her hand when Kyle left Duke. All caps, he was still in high school. Let's go back in time. The Salt Lake Tribune would report the Hutchinsons and Filipkowskis were family friends. Caitlin's mother, Amanda, was hired as an athletic trainer by Becky after Becky graduated from Cal State University, Long Beach. Though they'd have a barbecue in 2016, Becky says it was roughly 5 years later when Kyle and Caitlin started getting more involved. At 17, this photo was snapped from Kyle's prom. It is dated May 21st, 2022. Kyle was about 17 at this time. Caitlin is either 25 or 26. As SB Nation wrote, even if we assume the first time they met was at this prom, that's still an adult dating a minor. However, a now deleted comment on Kyle's prom photo from Caitlin read, "1 year with my favorite person." That would mean they started their relationship when Kyle was 16 and she was 24 or 25 years of age. One Redditor even weighed in with a pretty accurate take. Imagine getting your master's, because Caitlin later got her master's, and then going to a prom. Replied another, "Dude, I just finished my 3rd year of undergrad and I could never imagine going to a high school dance. It takes a weird kind of person to still want to go to one of those that far removed from high school." I concur. Becky had warned Duke about the relationship and how she would protect him, Caitlin would protect Kyle from other girls. They said the school would handle it. Meanwhile, Becky's mother and grandmother had passed away and her mental health was declining. Then Becky was diagnosed with cancer. All of this came and it hit her like a ton of bricks. When Kyle attended Duke, there was one game against the Ohio State Buckeyes where Becky, quote, from the article, was not allowed to see her son afterward. Eventually, she said, he stopped leaving tickets for his family. The relationship between Kyle and his family would grow even further apart from there. Page 6 would report Kyle's brother Daniel came forward on Twitter writing, and I quote, "You all don't have a clue of the extent of the story that has to do with his girlfriend. There's a story that has been pushed under the table for nearly 2 years now." He'd respond to one tweeter with, "Look up and read Mormon grooming and brainwashing, and you'll find some introductory details in there to connect some dots into the story that is going on here." He'd add, "My brother is a victim and was unfortunately a perfect pawn and target for this girl's lifelong scheme based on his human characteristics and growing potential as a high-level prospect, which started taking place in 2019, exactly at the time when she began her pursuit of him." Daniel would add, "Kyle, myself, your entire family and friends love you and are here for you. I have received so much outreach and support from families that have a child who has fallen victim to this same terrible and evil progression of psychological control and manipulation, and my heart goes out to all the families out there who have suffered through this experience in the past or are currently going through this right now. You all are not alone." He would then write this, "She forced him to cut us off from his life almost 2 years ago. Sent us an email and everything, basically the official goodbye letter. That letter reflected that he felt as though he, Kyle, was the one suffering from emotional abuse at the behest of the Filipkowskis, because they, according to Kyle, could not accept his relationship and his girlfriend, Caitlin. It would read, and I quote, "I did everything I could to convince you to support me in my choices, and you made the choice not to because of the way you've treated me and how you continue to treat me. I don't want you in my life. I wanted you to hear it from me." This appears to track as they got engaged in late 2023. The NBA draft would take place on June 26, 2024. To clarify, because it is important, Caitlin was born in September of 1996, making her 7 years older than Kyle, who was born in November 2003. She would graduate from the University of Alabama in the year 2018, earning her Bachelor of Science in Education, Kinesiology, and Exercise Science. In May of 2022, she worked as an executive assistant in the state of North Carolina, where Kyle would play collegiately for the Duke Blue Devils. Becky said the ESPN report served as a sort of rehashing of the pain that their family deals with. She would say, "I gave my boys everything I earned," noting she quit her teaching job early and poured money into AAU to allow Kyle to play at the highest level. She would add that her husband, David, would retire when Kyle and his twin brother were college freshmen because, quote, "we figured we would be traveling all over the place and seeing their games at Duke and Harvard. So he took an early retirement so that it would make it easier. We haven't been anywhere." Becky would say that, yeah, this probably does fall on me a little bit, but there is a lot more to the story. In that Salt Lake Tribune, story, she refuted her son Daniel's take on it being Mormon grooming, but she would still have and raise many suspicions about the relationship. Still, from James DeTour, if we combine the accounts of the Filipkowski family, they appear to be alleging that Caitlin Hutchinson began a relationship with Kyle as a high schooler with the intent of grooming him and converting him to the Mormon religion. According to their allegations, that includes a long-term play to become engaged to him shortly after he left Duke, and with the NBA on the horizon. This is a massive story, and it is one that is not going away, especially when Becky is now going public with her allegations. Kyle is a member of the Utah Jazz. We do know that there is a large Mormon community in the state of Utah. Could the stars have a line where the Jazz felt it was the correct way to go? Maybe. But until we hear from Caitlin, whose Instagram remains private, and Kyle, who appears to not willingly speak on the subject, there are still many holes in this story that we wish to fill. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.